So what is going on out there? What is happening out there? Hopefully everybody is doing wonderful. What is good on the internet? What's good in life? The name is Akiem Balaam. And as you can see, I am not exactly filming from the confines of my apartment, my oh so palatial apartment. I say it in quotation marks, but it's some nice pads. But as you can see, I am not filming from the confines of my apartment. I happen to be on the road, on location in Guntersville, Alabama. Now, you're probably thinking, what in the Samsil would Akiem Bobby Samuel Balaam be doing on location, on the road in Guntersville, Alabama, of all places? Well, it just so happens that I happen to do some writing for this company called Prep Girls Hoops, and they do a lot of high school and AAU basketball coverage. They're part of a whole network of websites that includes a boys basketball site, Prep Hoops, as well as a football site, Prep Red Zone. I also just recently started writing for a softball website, Prep Softball, and I happen to volunteer to cover this event here in Guntersville, Alabama, called the Prep Girls Hoops Roll Tide Rumble as part of the Prep Girls Hoops circuit. That is why yours truly is in Guntersville, Alabama this weekend. And I've been spending, my whole weekend here. And I didn't necessarily know exactly what to expect when I first came here, but it's actually a very nice place. As you can tell behind me, a very scenic place. And one thing about myself is that I do a lot of geography. So I knew that given the location of Guntersville, Alabama, given the fact that it's only about maybe a 45-minute drive from here to Huntsville, I knew that it was going to be a very scenic place. So that was one of the reasons as to why I was really excited about doing this trip. As people who know me know, I have grown a certain I guess you could say a certain affinity for nature and mountains and hills, as you can see behind me. Not only the hills, but also this lake. Wow, this is definitely one big lake. I mean, who wouldn't want to, take their boat for a dip in this beauty right here, Lake Guntersville? But yeah, absolutely. I was very, very excited about coming here. My first time here. Like I said, didn't necessarily know what to expect, but was definitely blown away. Guntersville certainly left a really good impression on yours truly. And, as far as the event that I worked is concerned, I had the opportunity to really watch a lot of AAU teams from all over the region. And that's one of the big reasons as to why I do something like this, because one thing about me, anybody who knows anything about me, is that I'm very, very, very adventurous. I love venturing out of state. It's why I love going to places like Phoenix, Arizona, which is where I was last year for WNBA All-Star, which is why I will be in Indianapolis later on this summer for this year's rendition of WNBA All-Star Weekend. So I love going places. And one thing about it is that I definitely love the opportunity to watch some of these teams from outside of my immediate area. So that is one of the main things that I love about just the opportunity to be able to, to do these events, work these events, and just, meet the fine people of wherever I could very well be. I mean, in this place, it just so happened to be northern Alabama, so I had a chance to kind of hobnob a little bit with the, with the local yokels here. So, so absolutely, but definitely a great trip, definitely a great experience. Like I said, first time here, definitely had the chance to, to really just take in a lot, see a lot, experience a lot, because really when you think about it, that really is what life is all about at the end of the day. It is all about getting those experiences, because one can only stay in one spot for such a long time before you just get that urge. Sometimes you just get that urge to where you're just like, you know what? You just need to come out. You just need to just get out, just need to explore, see the world, see things. And when there are natural beauties out here, When there's natural beauty out here, like the lake and the rolling hills and the foothills and the mountains of Guntersville, Alabama, and there's, like I said, natural beauty. As you can see behind me, there is definitely no shortage of natural beauty here. It's definitely one of those things that it will certainly have you wanting to do, just so much more and just get more of these experiences. So as I record this, I just got done with the second of the 2 days at what they call the Supreme Courts in Guntersville. It's a little bit of a short drive here from the lake, but what they call the Supreme Courts, they had like 3 courts set up. I believe they also had some games that took place at the Guntersville Rec, but yeah, absolutely. I'm about to get into my car and get on this long drive, back home. But I wanted to get on here basically to ask you, what was your most memorable trip? That most memorable travel outing that maybe you and a friend, or maybe you and some friends, or maybe you and a family, or maybe you and a significant other, if you know what I mean. What was that most memorable trip that you will always cherish for the rest of your life? Because one thing about myself is that I feel like I am doing a much better job at just being able to take in these moments, take in these trips that I have the opportunity to do so, and just like I said, have an opportunity to just really cherish this, these moments for the rest of my life. Because these types of trips, the more that you do it, the more that you just have an appreciation for it. So this is definitely something that I certainly want to do a lot more on my channel, not just for my channel, but also for myself and for my own mental. This is definitely something that I would absolutely just love to do more often on a regular basis, to just sort of get out of the confines of my apartment. And like I said, just explore and just see things. So, because one can only stay in an apartment for such a long time. Like I said, you got to get out here and you got to explore. So a very scenic backdrop to the event that I was working. I'll have more content on the various Prep Girls Hoop sites as the week goes on, but definitely am so glad that I had the opportunity to experience this. I had no idea that this even existed, but it's certainly one of those situations that now that I have experienced it, it's sort of a where has this place been all my life type of a situation. So yeah, I feel like I am definitely departing from Guntersville, and I'm about to, head back to life, back to reality. I'm definitely about to, go back home, I feel like with some really good memories. And like I said, something that absolutely I want to experience more often for sure this year and in coming years, because hey, traveling, change is really part of the spice of life. But that's why I wanted to get on here. Just sort of update you on what's been going on with me. Obviously, when I edit everything and when I put everything back together, when you're seeing this video, more than likely I will have already gone back home, because as I said, right now I'm just kind of taking a little bit of a rest stop, just to film and just, share what I've been doing. But more than likely when you see this, yours truly will indeed be back in the confines of his apartment. So like I said, just wanted to come on here, wanted to, update you on what's been going on with me, but also just ask, what would you say has been that memorable trip? What would you say has been that memorable outing? Whether it's a nature outing or anything with friends or something with a significant other. That's one thing about filming by a lake. You'll definitely get a lot of uninvited and unexpected visitors for sure, especially around this time of the day. Beautiful day, not too hot, not too cold, even though if I had to choose, I would probably, I don't know, maybe it's the Long Island New Yorker in me, but I would probably prefer it to be, probably on the colder side rather than be on the warmer side, even though my tires could probably disappear, because we know what happens to one's PSI when one's PSI of their tires in cold weather. So once again, rate, comment, react, reply, add, and subscribe. Just wanted to, come on here and also just ask, what would you say has been that most memorable trip, that most memorable vacation? Because it did kind of serve as that. in some ways. It did kind of serve as a little bit of a, a getaway, sort of a change from the norm, because, who wants it to be just monotonous all the time? So like I said, just excited about this trip and excited for what's to come. So like I said, just wanted to come on here on YouTube, just share what I'm doing, and just asking, what would you say was your most memorable trip? So until next time, this is one guy enjoying life, getting out, having the chance to travel. Definitely got to count your blessings. This is certainly a blessing to be able to experience things like this, because it's not exactly every day, especially if you don't live someplace like here, that you get to experience something like this. So until next time, this is Akiem about to get back in his car and start this long drive. So once again, I am out. See you on the internet someplace.